Hi, and welcome to this short discussion between Kent Larsen from Bunker One and myself, Kenneth Hughes, the chairman of the Digitalisation Working Group within IBIA. I'm very pleased to actually have a small conversation with Kent about the work we've done so far in the working group. And as you might know, a brief context on what we're actually trying to achieve and the outcome we are pursuing in the working group. That is for us to really get a solid understanding of the full bunker value chain. What are the players in the value chain? What are the key business processes at play? What is the maturity of the digitization that is taking place? What are some of the values that can be derived from really digitalizing the bunker value chain and all the business processes? But also discussing some of the challenges and dilemmas in pursuit of that digitization, because it's clear it's not easy, but that's why I really feel that there's a lot of value in the working group where we have multiple representatives. So thank you, Kent, for joining this and taking the time out. Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having the opportunity, and good to be with you too.
Thanks, Kent. And now we've been meeting for quite a few months and discussing a lot of interesting topics in the working group. What are some of the main drivers for you actually volunteering time to discuss digitization within the bunkering industry?
You can say what we have been looking for a period of working on is you can say taking a big step into the digitalization, and we've been working quite a lot alone on our own on this. And I think when we had the opportunity here, right, it was much appreciated for us to be able to discuss this with other players in the industry, not just our direct peers, but also you can say other participants in the industry, both on the buyer side, brokers, traders, customers, right, to get a view from their side. We have, of course, various discussion with different players, but yeah, it's good to be in a forum where this is actually the core focus and not just, you can say, side talks and so on. So it's been super interesting just here in the startup to have those discussions and not, you can say, pretty much work it on our own and based on how we see it, but also get a broader perspective to the digitalization of the bunkering industry.
Yeah, I very much agree, and I really found our discussions very insightful, and I think it's also highlighted actually the challenges of actually digitizing, because as we talked about many times, digitization has also become a buzzword. So what does it really mean? Because all companies basically use software and IT solutions to run their business today. So what is it that's missing? I think that's a good call out that we discussed a number of times. But also, what does digitization really mean for the different players of the industry, right? From a supplier, as you say, to a buyer, to a broker, to a trader, to a barge operator. Where's the value really? And there's a lot of diverse views on that. And there's obviously also some dilemmas in digitizing and creating transparency. What are some of the main observations that you've taken away from that discussion?
Yeah, I think you can say there are for sure dilemmas in there, and as you mentioned, right, I think the main concern across that is this sharing of the data and the access to data, and where are we going to store the data, who will have access, and so on. But I think you can say I think that can be solved, but I think the potential overall is so huge, right, on making some of all of these processes digitalized. There is the operational excellence, there is efficiency, both on, you can say, on the barge operations, on the back office stuff. The transparency and in general is also going to be a huge upside in this. And if you look further down the line with blockchain and so on, there's a lot of things here you can say that we can earn from that. And then there is something we need to figure out about the sharing of the data, where you say I think there's also some kind of being scared of the sharing, right? And what is actually risks here, and how can you mitigate that risk? I think that's some of the things that we need to discuss more in detail and find a way forward how to handle it. I think that's because it is a dilemma for sure, but there's so much to be gained here.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And this is really where it's important to find that right balance of transparency and digitization and data sharing, because I think we all agree in the working group it's not just suddenly you completely share everything with everybody, right? Because there is obviously also commercial data that's part of a company's commercial edge. And obviously you don't want to share that because that's part of your value proposition and license to play. And everybody wants to obviously protect their margin, have a healthy business model. So I think as part of this discussion in the working group, it's also like highlighting those dilemmas, maybe creating a pathway for the industry and the players to see how you can actually protect your business, adapt your business model, and adjust. Because I think transparency and digitization of sharing and data will not go away. It's just about what phases do we go through and how can each company actually take those steps along the journey.
Yeah, I fully agree. That is why I think it's super relevant that we do this as an industry approach and have that dialogue. And it's not everybody who has to sit with their own consideration, and not, you can say, getting into a forum like this where you can also see it in a bigger scale, and you can have discussions and find common solutions. So I see a lot of value in that.
Yeah. And also Bunker One, where you see a lot on your digitization journey there, Kent. What do you see as a potential value for Bunker One of the outcomes of this working group, and how you can actually take some of those learnings and apply them in Bunker One? Are there any considerations on that?
Yeah, for us, right? Then it is very interesting to have that discussion with the various players here, and so we are not sitting, you can say, doing what we think is the right way to do it, but to get that inspiration from across the board. And also to have these discussions also on the data sharing, right, which has been one of our concerns, and one of the things also, you can say, behind the choices that we are currently making right now. How deep do we want to go into this? Are we moving too fast? Are we giving away something others will not give away? Right, have that whole dialogue. That is key for us to find the right way forward.
Yeah, I agree. And what I really personally find really interesting is also that obviously it's intuitive that all the buyers of fuel in our industry, they obviously see great commercial value in more transparency, because they then believe they can actually plan their bunker purchasing better, they can go to market in a more transparent way, and then they can get cheaper pricing. So that's the one side of the market. But then there's the other side, as you represent, as a supplier, where that transparency can be a dilemma in terms of how do you then still protect your profits, right?
Yeah, and that's why, seen from our point of view, right, then I do not see this, you can say, the product that we are selling as being a commodity. For us, it's a high level of service, it's operational excellence, it's quality, right, which is not, you can say, something which you can just put into a database and everybody can have access, and then you can compare one to one, because that's not how it is, right? Then you end up having the risk that you're comparing peers with apples, right? And not taking in these, you can say, more soft values, but which is for our customers a huge value, right? With the service, the operational excellence, the quality, and so on. So that's, you can say, that is one of the concerns we are having, right, and discussing here, right? We want to be very transparent, but it just has to be like in a one-to-one, you can say, consideration of the data actually being there.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, right? And this is also a way for companies also on the supplier side to really differentiate themselves and yourself in the market, right? It's not only a price point, but it's also
exactly.
It's a service, it's reliability. There's many more factors in there that defines the willingness to pay from the buy side, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think digitization and transparency is not a threat. It's actually an opportunity. It's also an opportunity to digitalize the way you engage with your market.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's what we are working on right now in our internal projects. That is to, you can say, to support the service that we are providing towards customers, give them the transparency, give them the easy access to information about the bunkering, both the pre and post deliveries. That's where we really can see that we can contribute with some value, and also making the operational on board our barges, right, more efficient, so we can save time in that respect. That's where I really, in our point of view, right, really see the upside.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Kent. And if we look a bit ahead towards the conference in Dubai, which is only a few weeks away, I personally really look forward to sharing the preliminary outcomes of the work that we've had, both in terms of the bunker value chain mapping, understanding the key business processes that is taking place in the different parts of the value chain, assessing the maturity level of digitization as it is today. And on that note, I really look forward to seeing and analyzing the feedback from the survey that we launched a few weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
To really get a feel for where does the players and the industry actually see themselves. And as part of that maturity assessment, also understand where's the value really coming from, what are the dilemmas, and what is the pathway forward, and how can we, as a working group, maybe put out some points of observation, some recommendations, maybe a playbook on change management at some point. And so we really can actually enable the acceleration and adoption of digital solutions. What do you look forward to for the conference?
Yeah, but I look forward to you can say, have a discussion around this in a broader scale, and also be first and foremost. I really look forward to see the results of the survey. Right, it's a little bit of a, you can say, of a test of how you see things yourself. Have you? Is there something we have not considered? Most likely there. That's going to be a huge inspiration, right? And then talk with the whole industry about it, not just, you can say, our little small group, which is not that small anyways, but have everything in a broader perspective being discussed. I think that's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, likewise. I'm really happy to see that we have quite a high interest from the actual working group to actually join the panel debate. So obviously I will just do a brief intro at the actual session, but really broadening out the discussion, and then really hoping for a lot of participation from the room there, so we can really get the right discussions going and hopefully be an amplifier for all the corridor talks that always also happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's going to be, I really look forward to it. So thank you, Kent. I think this was a really good conversation about our observations so far, and I'm really pleased that you took the time out to have this brief chat, but also invested a lot of time, personal time, throughout the working group sessions the last few months. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and thank you very much for having you the opportunity, and looking forward to see you soon.
Thanks, Kent.
Thank you.